Hey everyone, it's Jake at Jake's Metal Chat. Hope you're all well and welcome to my final December collection update. This is the CD portion of it. And of course, I moved this along with my vinyl collection update from last year to this year because I didn't have time to do it last year. So for this, I got quite a few CDs to show you, most of which I got at Black City Records, a couple of from gigs and festivals that I have attended or played. So without further ado, I'm going to crack on with this list so I can let you guys get on with your day, evening, wherever you are in the world. So the first band, so going to start at the top of the list with a band from Manchester. They formed in 2023. I saw them with Moon Reaper last year. Completely blown away by them. This is 1986 with their 2024 EP, Titan a Rum. And they only just released their debut this year, which I haven't checked out yet, but I will be very soon. And this is more on the hardcore and sludge metal sound. So if you're into your hardcore and sludge metal, you definitely enjoy this. I know there's going to be a few out there who are like not into my hardcore, not into my sludge, or you might just be more into the sludge metal sound, but not into the hardcore style riffs and vocals. Sometimes they go a bit death metal, and other times the riffs will go very sludge metal. So you get that hardcore style with the vocals, the guitars, and the bass drums. So it goes very hardcore to sludge. The vocals goes very hardcore sounding style vocals to a bit more of a death metal style. But it's blended beautifully together. Got a bit of the artwork in here, as well as lyrics here with the CD. And everything I'm talking about here will be in the description below, so you can have a listen for yourself. But definitely check this out if you're more into your sludge metal and your hardcore. And if you get a chance to see him, do so. So much intensity live, and it definitely shows on this record. And it's definitely going to show in their debut, 1986, and Titan a Rum. Next band from not only the US, but the Netherlands. Formed in 2013 as First Class Elite until 2014, then changed their name in 2017 to Siege of Power, and this is their 2023 album. This is Tomorrow, and some excellent quality in your face death thrash with Chris Ryford right up there. And as soon as you hear his vocals, you know it's Chris Ryford straight away. Same with Martin Van Drunen because of their unique styles. And I've mentioned like vocal styles being anguish. There are times where Chris Ryford's vocals sound pretty much like that as well. Bit of the artwork there. Them on the back, as well as bit of the artwork from the front cover. And this was an album I missed in 2023. There's quite a lot I missed that year, as well as 2024, 2025, and obviously the years before that. Got the CD there as well. And yeah, there's just so many albums that have come out in those years, and you just can't listen to them all. And I've listened to this now because it is absolutely brilliant stuff. And if you're more into your death thrash and you love Chris's vocals and you love just some really intense, in your face metal, this is definitely a band for you. Siege of Power, and this is Tomorrow. Next band that pays so much homage to old school death metal bands like Boltver, Dismember, Grave, Entomb, Benediction, you name it, these guys definitely embody those bands. They formed in 2010. It is a solo project that formed on the Falkland Islands, but then relocated to Salisbury here in the UK. This is Bloodrust with their 2023 album, At Glory's End. Some excellent old school death metal in the 21st century. And I love modern death metal bands that play in that old school sound. And a lot of them do it justice. This definitely does it justice. Of course, you got it there. You got Richard doing vocals, lead, rhythm, guitars, drum programming, and there's my mate Phil on the bass. His two bands, Divian and Void Titan. And when I was listening to this, I got a little bit of HM2 in the mix. So it's definitely got some HM2. It's not too overdriven, but it's there so you can hear that glorious sound all the same. All of the songs from start to finish, just brilliant, brilliant stuff. And for those that know me, either just by watching my videos or know me personally, know I love my death metal through and through. It's my favorite genre within metal, and I'm always trying to find new bands with that old school style. And Richard has definitely delivered with his project. And if you have not listened to these guys, everything, like I said, will be in the description below. And I don't think I showed a bit of artwork on the inside. Here we go. As well as some lyrics. And yeah, the riffs are very Bolt Thrower inspired, very Bolt Thrower sounding. But like I said, it has that HM2 sound that you would hear with the greats such as Entombed, Dismember, and Grave, as well as any other band that has featured HM2. But yeah, definitely an album that I would recommend to primarily death metal fans, all you death metal maniacs out there. Check this out. Bloodrust and At Glory's End. Anyway, next band. I've got two albums here by them. They're from Scotland. They formed in 2004. Just get my list up here. And the amount of energy, the amount of stage presence these guys had at Beer Mageddon, and I always find new bands to listen to there. And I still listen to a lot of those guys today. This is Dog Tired with their 2016 album It Came From the Sun, and the 2023 album The Red Verse. Both got that equal amount of groove and just intensity, and just so many great riffs for days. And I spoke to these guys afterwards. Really, really sound guys. And so many great bands have come out of Scotland. Just so much great music coming out from Scotland. And these guys, when I saw them at Beer again, and they did not disappoint. And this album does not disappoint, along with this one. No way does it disappoint. It's because it's mixing thrash and groove, and the vocals very much more a groove metal style vocals with that groove metal and thrash metal style guitar, bass, drums, everything. There's the guys from the band, as well as the little CD in his own little pocket right there. Don't think there's a booklet with this one, if I remember correctly. No, there's. Wait, I think there is. Yes, there is a booklet. Got the artwork again. And let's just move the light over there a little bit. Got the guys again with some lyrics. But yeah, definitely a band that I was like, didn't know who they were, but I got a feeling I was going to like them, and I was right. I do like them, and I hope they do come down to my neck of the woods so I can see these guys again. If not, I'd be happy to travel to see these play live once again. And if groove metal, thrash metal is more your thing, Dog Tired is the band for you. And once again, this is Dog Tired with It Came From the Sun and the Red Verse. Right, got a few more CDs here too, so I'm going to get the pile a bit more neatly here now. So, next band I've covered a few times here already. I've talked about their debut in my Metal Vault episode. I've even spoken about this album. They formed in 1991 in Blackpool here in the UK. First under the name of Sufferance, from 1991 to 1982, then changed it to Enchantment, and this is their 2022 album, Cold Soul Embrace. Excellent, beautiful sounding death doom. The guitars on this are just absolutely brilliant. The bass as well, drumming also excellent. The vocals from Paul are just intense and do have that anguish behind it, and it works with this style of music as well as some really intense in your face death metal. But it works more so with Death Doom. Got with the artwork right there. Just works more with this sort of style. And some lyrics over here, as well as some artwork. And they've supported quite a lot of bands back in the day. So I'm going to show off, post it up here. So there's them with Cradle of Filth, Anathema, and Cancer, as well as them playing with Anathema again. Yeah, absolutely brilliant, brilliant stuff right here. I'm not just saying that because I know Mark, the Bowels of Retribution, but yeah, just brilliant stuff here. Say it's released on Cosmic Cube Creations and Transcending Records. And the guitar work, everything here is just absolutely transcending and it's all blended so well. And you can definitely hear the anguish in Paul's vocals. And on top of that, you got some excellent, beautiful sounding guitars and bass and drums. And yeah, I already got this on vinyl because I showed the vinyl in one of my earliest collection updates. But I thought, being Collector Scum, like Mark and also Sean the Beast, I gotta have every format. So got the CD as well. So once again, this is Enchantment with Cold Soul Embrace. Not checked it out yet. In the description below, you can have a listen for yourself and definitely give these guys your support, as well as Dog Tired and Bloodrust, Siege of Power, and 1986. And to the rest of the bands that I will be showing you now. So here is some German death metal formed in 2014. And I mentioned that glorious HM2 sound. Well, saying this is soaked is a bit of an understatement because it is absolutely drenched in that HM2 sound. This is Endseeker, and I got into these guys when this album was released, not as soon as the album was released, but the year it was released. So this is, once again, this is Endseeker with their 2021 album, Mount Carcass. And yeah, it's absolutely drenched in HM2. And I love my HM2, and it's overdriven to the absolute max. But I also love my HM2 where it's not too overdriven, but it's there that you can still hear it. But with this, you can definitely hear it all the way through. There's the guys who performed on the album itself. Just checking that my mic's still on. Some lyrics there. Yeah, when I heard these guys, I was like, it's got that sound I love. HM2. How can you not love your HM2? You can't go wrong with some HM2 in your death metal. And of course, I own the pedal itself. Let me just see if I can find the pedal itself. Hang on. Yeah, I think I found it. And just get back down here. Of course, got my own HM2 as well. All the way to the max, as it is on this album right here. Like I said, it's drenched in that glorious HM2, but it's just downright dirty, filthy, disgusting, in your face death metal. And of course, when I first heard bands with that HM2 sound, of course, it would be Entomb, Dismember, and Grave. And I was like, there's got to be more bands outside of Sweden that have featured that HM2. These guys, and of course, another German band to mention, Fleshcrawl, have also featured HM2 in their music, still do to this day. And yeah, these guys definitely play that HM2 sound to absolute justice on this record and all their other releases as well. If you've not checked out this album and you are familiar with Endseeker, then do check it out. Or if you're not familiar with Endseeker and you're looking for more HM2 goodness, this is definitely for you. The cover of Escape from New York on this is absolutely brilliant stuff. Of course, favorite tracks of mine are Unholy Rites, Bloodline, and of course Count the Dead. But the whole album itself, beautiful, beautiful stuff right here. And to say it one more time, it's absolutely drenched in HM2, Endseeker, and Mount Carcass. Right, just one, two, three, four, five CDs left to show you, and then I'll let you get on with the rest of your day or evening, wherever you are in the world. Right, this next band is all the way from Denmark. They formed in, just get my list, here we are, 2012. And this was one of the bands that I played with at Glastonbury with my band, along with there was yeah 8 of us all together, so eight 8 bands. I'm trying to remember at the top of my head, might be wrong there, but all the bands were on point, and these guys, my friend Lewis covered for their drummer because he couldn't make it over. These guys still brought the energy. This is Guttural Slug with their 2023 release, Megalodon. And we, in my band, actually have a song by the same name and dedicated to these guys. But yeah, these guys live were absolutely brilliant. And the amount of sound, the amount of aggression and energy from them was absolutely brilliant. And this is just, like I mentioned, with Endseeker being some dirty, disgusting, drench-filled HM2. This is just dirty, downright disgusting, brutal, slamming death metal. And I don't listen to a lot of my slamming death metal these days, but I definitely love this as well as Cranium as, as another band that is in the brutal death metal genre. And they've also signed it as well, which was really cool of them to do. And I hope to see these guys live or even get to share a stage with them again. But if you're more into your slamming brutal death, this will definitely be more up your street. Because it is just filled with those chunky guitars and bass, blasting drums, and absolutely low, disgusting filled gutturals. Guttural Slug and Megalodon. Right, the next band here, all the way from Germany. So we're going back to Germany. These guys formed in 2020. Get my list up again. Here we are. And saw this album in Black City Records, and I knew a mate of mine who also is one of the workers there was looking at this album and thought, I'm going to get this before he does. It's Kanonenfieber with their 2024 album. And I tried learning this earlier, and it is the album Die Unkatastrophe. I think I just said that wrong, but I think that translates to catastrophe. Some excellent stuff right here. It's melodic death metal, kind of goes into the death metal realm a little bit, but it's uh more black metal than anything. Released on Century Media Records. And if you are familiar with Kanonenfieber, you know that artwork's always got the bright orange background with an undead soldier from World War One. And I don't think there's a band picture of these guys, but if you have seen them live or seen pictures of them, you know that they wear World War One attire with those plain black balaclava masks. You know, basically, think that the undead, like undead soldiers. And I think the vocalist, who's the primary member of this band, pretty much did everything on this album, wears a gold mask in the shape of this skull on the front here. But yeah, this is some really great stuff right here. I was like, who the hell's Canoon and Fever? And then I checked them out. I was like, yep, I like this stuff instantly. And I was like, what does the name mean? And on their Metallic page, it says Cannon Fever. And yeah, glad that I bumped into these guys when I did, and I didn't listen to this album when I checked out these guys the first time around. This came out in 2024, of course. And like I said, there's so many albums out there that I had my eye on, and there's just so many that I just skipped over. Sadly, this was one of them. And I'm glad I've listened to it now because it is just an absolutely brilliant release. And if you're more into your black metal, more melodic than anything, then this is definitely a band and an album for you. And I hope to see these guys live at some point. Hopefully, they'll come on tour again, and I'll be able to see them. Canoon and Fever. And I'm not going to try and pronounce the names. I'm going to say Die Catastrophe. Right, last albums here, all classic albums here. So the first one is from a band that formed in 1997 in Finland. And on this album, they sing in Swedish. Because, correct me if I'm wrong, anyone in the comments, correct me if I'm wrong. There's a bit in, I know there's a bit in Finland they speak Swedish, but I think there's a bit in Sweden where they speak Finnish. Correct me if I'm wrong. So this is Vintroll with their 2004 album Nat Thud, and I hope I said that right. Some really cool, heavy, groovy folk metal, and I've seen these guys quite a few times now, and they've never disappointed. I think the two times I have seen them, they've always played the Fleece in Bristol. They're here in Bristol. Got the guys from the band there. And some of the, well, that's actually no way. That's the members of the band there, the names and some lyrics as well. But yeah, I'm as well as loving my death metal, I also love my folk metal, as a lot of people will know by watching my videos, or to those who know me personally. And these definitely became one of my favorite bands, and definitely influence for another band that I am in. And if you're not familiar with Intro and you love your folk metal, I would definitely recommend you check these guys out. Definitely check out this album right here. And yeah, I hope to see these guys live again because it blends folk music with metal so well. You get your flutes, you get your violins, you get all those great instruments that make folk metal just so good, mixed with that glorious sound of metal. And yeah, I don't know what else to say. I'm probably just thinking of other things to say about this album, but folk and metal together, I love it. Vintroll and Nat Fud. Right, these two all the way from that decade, the 90s. So the first one is a band from Switzerland. They formed in 1987, released two albums before this one, and I didn't get to see them at Cosmic Void, where they played primarily those two albums and this one. This is Samael with their 1994 album Ceremony of Opposites. What an absolute great album. And of course, the first song I ever heard by these guys is track number 6, Baphomet's Throne, which will always be my favorite from the album. CD looks really cool, like yin and yang. And I think there's a few lyrics in here. Yes, there is. Songs out like this. And then you get the bit of the artwork from the CD on here. Because this was in Black City Records before, but I didn't get it at the time, and I think that was one of the many early pressings of this album. And this came in, I was like, yep, I'm not letting anyone else get this. I'm getting it. It's one of my favorite albums by these guys. I also love the two before that. And they've gone more on that, say, more electronic industrial side of it now, but back then they were more Black in Death. The vocals are very black metal, but the guitar tone is much more death metal. And adding the keyboards into their music definitely fits with the style that they were doing back in the day. And if you are not familiar with Samael's earlier stuff, then do definitely check this one out as well as the two albums before this, which I'm trying to remember the top of my head. I think one's called Worship Him, and I'm blanking on the other one, but they're both excellent releases. And I'm pretty sure there's a lot of you in the VC that probably or most definitely prefer the first three albums. And yeah, this is an excellent release right here. Samael and Ceremony Opposites. Right, the last one. So we're going from Switzerland all the way to Tampa, Florida. These guys also formed in 1987, but under the name Carnage. And then from 87 to 89, they were called Amon. And of course, I am talking about Deicide with their 1992 album, Legion. And I've mentioned in the vinyl update their debut, which is also an excellent release, but this has just gone an extra step further. It went an extra step further. There's the guys on the back, Glenn, Steve, and the Hoffman brothers. I think this one's Eric and that one's Brian. But yeah, this and what's the other one? Once Upon the Cross. And I mean, you can't go wrong with Deicide. This album right here is, like I said, the debut is also a heavy, intense record. Like I said in my collection, my vinyl collection update, but this has just gone up a step further than that. And if you've heard it, you know. If you haven't, check it out. Like I said, everything's going to be in the description below. Got the lyrics here, as well as this little piece of artwork, which looks really cool. And of course, the artwork from the album cover as well. And a little bit of down here, got Glenn's name right down there. And of course, when I was getting into death metal, trying to find more bands in the genre, of course, checked out Cannibal Corpse and got into them first, along with Obituary and Suffocation and Morbid Angel, and then Death. And then these guys came. Actually, I think I checked these guys out before I checked out Death, but definitely became one of my favorite bands within death metal. And I've seen them at least twice now. First time was here in Bristol in 2020, no, in 2013. And then I saw them at Bloodstock 2024. And hearing songs from this album, the debut, and all their other albums, just great to hear live. And I know I've said this quite a lot in my videos, but Death Metal Maniacs, you've not checked out Deicide, you have just gotten into death metal. Definitely check out this album, but also check out their debut. Some really nasty evil sounding death metal right here. And it needs to be that evil and sounding because the music itself is absolutely aggressive. Glenn's vocals are very demonic. And yeah, everything's just on point. Everything from all the songs, start to finish, brilliant stuff. The bass tone is right, the guitar tone is right, the drum tone is right. Glenn's vocals on point. Put it all together, you got yourself an evil, aggressive sounding record. Deicide and Legion. And that is it for my CD collection update. Of course, prattling on and trying to figure out the right words to say about the album and just my usual prattling on and just going on a tangent. But as always, thank you for tuning in to my collection update, into my videos overall, to my channel overall. And a big thank you to all those that have subscribed last year and to all the people checking out my end of year list. It's gone over 370 odd views now, and that's absolutely brilliant stuff. So thank you once again. Do all of the usual, like, share, comment down below, and subscribe if you enjoy my content and to keep up with date with everything I got coming up. I've been Jake at Jake's Metal Chat. Keep the banner of metal well and truly high, and I will see you all in the next one.